As elections draw closer, Canadians are getting ready for higher taxes. And what you may or may not be surprised to hear is that many Canadians are actually cheering on higher taxes. I'm going to tell you what you need to know right now. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. I'm the author of the best-selling book, Nomad Capitalist, and the founder of Nomad Capitalist, where we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs legally go where you're treated best. And that includes helping people from Canada and countries all around the world escape increasingly confiscatory tax policies. I found an article on Bloomberg Law that says Canada launches election with higher taxes on the wealthy in sight. The article goes like this. Canadian businesses and wealthy individuals are bracing for higher taxes as the country kicks off a general election September 20th with tax fairness and income equality among top voter concerns. I've told you this is becoming an increasing issue. I've been telling you from day one of Nomad Capitalist, countries in the West, high tax countries, developed countries are by and large going to see an increasing trend of more people sticking their hand out and saying, I need more money. And they're going to go to politicians who want to give them that money, even if it means unfairly distributing, who pays the tax. Every major party running nationally has embraced the need. Now listen to that. Every major party running nationally has embraced the need to redistribute the tax burden and close tax breaks used by the rich. Now, I'm not suggesting that the rich have some kind of special party. This is Nomad Capitalist, not Nomad Crony Capitalist. I don't believe that the ultra-rich, as they're complained about in the media, should have some kind of special deal. But that said, they're already the ones paying, in most cases, a lot of taxes. The Elon Musks and Jeff Bezos and others are the exception. Plenty of people coming to me who make a lot less money are paying close to 50% or even more than 50% in some cases. And so they can't be accused of being tax dodgers, but yet every major party has now embraced the idea that, hey, you're not paying enough. All the people coming to me from Canada, we've got a lot of Canadians recently, everyone coming to us from Canada who's paying anywhere from 40 to, I think, 52%, something like that, when they add everything up, is not paying enough, according to every major party. Not one political party is standing up and saying, you're paying enough. Hey, half your income, close to half your income, take a powder. Let's let someone else stand in. Maybe we'll cut some expenses. Maybe someone else. Nobody's saying it. No one wants to take a powder. Proposals, the article says, include new wealth taxes. We've talked about this for close to a year now on individuals, capital gains taxes, higher taxes on corporations, especially those that made a windfall during the pandemic. How dare they be profitable? And new digital services taxes. This is one of the things that was discussed as a precursor to the new global minimum tax conversations, which we've talked about separately. So basically, anywhere where they can go and grab money from these nasty online companies who they see as having the money because of the boom in the tech industry. People are ordering everything online. They think that, hey, people are making capital gains, whether it's in stocks, whether it's in crypto, whether it's selling a business. We can go after that. Wealth taxes, hey, that's failed in most European countries, but hey, let's try that out. They've been pushing that around for some time. And these are the taxes that they want to thrust on you to pay the bills that they couldn't pay. Their promises, the article continues, will very likely find a receptive audience ahead of the September 20th vote. 57% of your fellow Canadians believe that the new coronavirus pandemic created a rise in income inequality, and 62% think the tax system is unfair, polling firm Abacus data found in a July poll conditioned by progressive and union groups. So, okay, perhaps a slanted poll, but let's be honest. I've been having this conversation with people in my family, and I've been reading about it since I was 11 or 12 years old. And we would talk back in the 1990s about how increasingly people in the West who don't quite realize why their country is wealthy, who don't realize it was built by enterprising people who thrived in environments where they weren't, forking over all their wealth, those people would simply go somewhere else, or those people would be demotivated. I talked to numerous people who they say, hey, I'm making $2 million a year, but maybe I could make more. Maybe, I just feel like it's not worth it. Maybe if I had less than a 50% tax bill, I would make more. And so the people in these Western countries are, because jobs have been sent to other countries, because other countries have opened up and you can now hire in other places that are more affordable, better conditions, more eager workforce, because there are other places where you can invest, you see what's happening, and then you have the coronavirus pandemic, which has made that worse. But what the government is basically saying is if you have a business that's online, that you've somehow unfairly benefited from what's happened. A lot of people I work with have businesses that are online, and they've been doing great. I've talked to a lot of people who've said, wow, things have really done very well. Nomad Capitalist has done well, as more people in the last year and a half are realizing my government doesn't look out for me. They don't care about me. In the case of Australia, I can't even get back into my own bloody country under threat of imprisonment or fine. They don't care about me. Why am I giving them all my money? And you'd think the government would say, hey, you know what? We know we haven't been able to provide the full slate of services. We know we've been telling you how the health system is overloaded. We know we've been telling you, like, all the things that you think a so-called first world country would have, they haven't been able to deliver. You think they'd say, hey, you know what? Hey, maybe we slice a little bit off. No, because they're so fiscally irresponsible and have been for decades. Now it's coming to fruition. Now these factors of globalization are coming to a further head as well. And so now people are saying, oh, the tax system is not fair because people in Canada, people where I'm from the US, people around the Western world got so used to, hey, I'm Canadian, that means guaranteed I should make a lot of money. Yeah, if it comes at the expense of those Asians or those Eastern Europeans, then so be it. Remember what Steve Bannon said, President Trump's advisor said? We hollowed out the middle class in the US and we built one in Asia. As if Asia doesn't deserve to have a middle class. But hey, that's what people think, and that's why 62% of people think that the tax system is unfair and there's too much income inequality because people who have built businesses, who are able to work globally, now have more money. But here's how I see it. If you're in Canada, the tax system is unfair because you're paying a boatload. You've seen how your government won't help you. You'll see how they'll over-regulate you. They'll take away your freedoms. They'll jack up tax rates on a whim because it's politically popular. They're not doing anything for you. And oh, by the way, you know what Canadians tell me? We cut down the tall flowers here. We don't want people to be too successful. That's why a lot of Canadians from Kevin O'Leary on down moved to the United States, so they say, because they can at least be around people who are, who want them to win. And even there in the United States, they're saying the same thing. Most people are going in the direction of saying you have too much. But that's the strains, this is the article. Strains on government finances from pandemic costs could also lead to higher tax rates, though whomever wins the election has to be careful not to extinguish Canada's fledgling economic recovery, says David Hogan, partner with Richter LLP. If you're going to raise a general corporate level of taxation, I don't think that is prudent. They don't care what's prudent, Mr. Hogan. Don't worry. They're not concerned about prudent. They're concerned about winning votes. They will turn the country into a hellhole if that's what it takes, as long as they can stay in power, and they want to promote their failed economic ideas. A better approach, he says, would be to tailor tax increases towards companies that have done well in the pandemic, either towards windfall taxes or better enforcement of existing tax laws. Now, here's where I disagree. Why is it your fault there was a pandemic? Surely we have a pandemic, and that's fine, and the government's dealing with it in whatever way they deem fit. Why is that your fault? Why is it Jeff Bezos' fault? Why is it my fault, that I and many of you had the foresight to move our business online? Do you know how many people in our industry laughed at what we're doing for so many years? Oh, you don't have offices everywhere. Where do I come into your office? Well, we have offices, but we do business with people all over the world remotely. Because I said to myself, Americans, Canadians, Australians, and many others, that is the future. People don't want to come in and sit in a boardroom. People want to get things done efficiently. That's what we've done. And it's paid off for us because we could keep operating and we could keep growing during this time. Why is it my fault this happened? Now, I'm happy to say, that business has gone up, but why is it my fault to pay a windfall profits tax? Because I can? A lot of things can be done. Why should I do something? Why should I have to do something just because I can? New corporate taxes, he says, will not only jeopardize our ability to recover, but could also see thousands of new business closures, no doubt. And this is a different gentleman. This is Patrick Gill, Senior Director of Tax and Financial Policy at the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. So basically, businesses are likely pushing back against new taxes, calling instead for a major tax review and tax credits to increase competitiveness. I have news for you guys. Canada, the US, and other Western countries are not competitive. If you come and look at the people I'm talking to, now, by the standards of comparing them to billionaires, they're not wealthy. But they are, seven-figure income earners, some high six-figure income earners, seven-figure income earners, eight-figure income earners. They're paying a boatload. There are not many special deals for them. They are paying a fortune. And are they getting any more roads to drive on, even if they haven't been able to drive on them in the last year and a half? Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, whose Liberal Party leads in most polls, well, that tells you what your people think Canadians, has pointed his track record of raising taxes on the richest Canadians. Listen to me, I've been raising the most taxes. I mean, this is what has changed in my lifetime. It used to be, remember when Bill Clinton got elected? Oh, we're going to have a tax cut. No, or all these different politicians. Oh, let's just say we're going to cut taxes. Even Obama in the U.S., no one who makes under a certain amount is going to see a tax hike. Now, of course, if you're wealthy, they've come after you. But even then, it wasn't flaunted like, hey, if you go back decades, it wasn't flaunted like we're just going to squeeze the rich. Now, he's bragging about it. The politicians are bragging about it because that's what people want. It is a bread and circus routine. That's exactly what it is. And so they don't care that you're the one creating the jobs. They don't care that you're the one innovating. They don't care any of that. Suddenly you're going to be held up as an example of someone who should be chastised by Justin Trudeau, who's going to use you for his own political fodder. The very first thing he said, this is Justin Trudeau speaking, the very first thing we did was to raise taxes on the wealthiest 1% so we could lower them for the middle class. What kind of a system is this? How does fair share of taxation work when one group of people who's already not paying a lot in real dollar terms pays even less, and one group who's already paying more than their fair share because they can only go to the library or drive on the roads or send their kids to the schools or do whatever so much as a human being with 24 hours in a day? How is them paying more benefit other than, the wealthiest 1% works because they're just 1%. That's what Trudeau said outside of Rideau Hall. Trudeau's most recent budget in April introduced significant new tax measures on large multinationals. Given the broad concerns about wealth inequality, the commenter said she expected Canada's new government to expand the capital gains tax rate to 75% of the tax rate from 50%, and to reform a tax exemption on gains from sales on personal residences. Both would affect ways of targeting wealth without affecting too many people. I will tell you this, there are plenty of people coming to me whose homes have gone up in value, and when they leave Canada, that's going to be one of the issues. They need to sell their home. The government wants to hit on that. They want to bring in luxury taxes. They want to have a charge on vacant housing. So, you shouldn't probably have a house if you're leaving Canada. If you were to somehow have a vacant home or maybe have a second home, or have a summer cabin, they're going to bring in new taxes on that. They want to raise your capital gains tax by expanding the amount of the tax rate that actually goes into capital gains. And so the article just continues to talk about all the different kinds of parties, from the New Democrats on down, who propose sweeping changes, 1% wealth tax. Now they're down, by the way, the wealth tax to 10 million Canadian dollars. It was 20 initially. Now they're down to 10 million. So the bottom line is, you have every political party, according to Bloomberg law, in Canada who wants to raise your taxes, or at least sit on idly by and say, what can we do? This is your country. And by the way, it's a lot of Western countries. I've heard from Germans who are really concerned about this year's elections as well. Parties all want to raise taxes. In the U.S., people are expecting tax. There's so many places around the world. The pandemic was a reason to do it. Now, you've seen countries like Malaysia who said, no, we're not bringing back a wealth tax because of this, or Uruguay saying, no, we're not going to raise taxes because of this. Why would we do that? There are still countries where you can go where you're treated best. Canada ain't it. On top of all the freedoms that they've taken away from you, now they want to raise your taxes, even as you pay more. Even as you have done well and you've continued to run your business, you've helped promote the fledgling economic recovery by running your business successfully, it's never enough for them. And so for me, if I'm in Canada, limited freedoms, higher taxes, political appetite among the population to always ask for more of your money, it's time to find a new place or places, potentially get a second passport, because one of the things that we've seen in these proposals over the years, the last year in particular, is possible citizenship-based taxation or some form of it. Have your residence or residences, have your backup citizenship, have a place where you can run your business, and go where you're treated best. Do it before it's too late. So people ask, Andrew, how do I get the most out of Nomad Capitalist? How do I begin my Nomad Capitalist journey? The first thing people do is they start right where you're at. They watch YouTube, they listen to podcasts, they read articles at nomadcapitalist.com. We've spent years creating thousands of pieces of free content so that you can get the vibe from someone who's actually done this, from someone who's actually been in your shoes. What they'll do next, they'll get a copy of the book. You can find it on Amazon. It costs a few bucks, and while it's not going to give you all the secrets, it's going to, again, give you more of the vibe. You're going to learn a lot of the things that I've learned. You're going to learn some strategies you can employ, and you're going to get a lot further in your journey. From there, if you are the 7 or 8 figure entrepreneur investor, you can go to nomadcapitalist.com. You can click Become a Client. We're pretty busy these days, but we have availability to help a limited number of people who want to create a holistic plan, something that I think is so important. So if you want to do that, go to nomadcapitalist.com, click Become a Client, learn more about how it works and how we can help you.